Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, all two of you, to Let's Play Dark Souls as a sorcerer. I've just gotten back from the lower undead burg to the Firelink Shrine. I'm going to do a little bit of upgrading here. Yeah, very little bit of upgrading. All I've got is 1 for vitality. Anyway, I'm back here at the Firelink Shrine because I'm not going to continue on to the depths just yet. I'm going to do what I said I would a couple of videos ago and actually head back to the Undead Asylum. It's not obvious to see the way back there. It's over in this direction where a few more people have suddenly appeared. What do they got to say? What's going on?
Oh, hello. My guests have finally arrived. I will be departing with them shortly. So, I'm afraid I will be saying goodbye soon. It was a pleasure.
Guests, hmm? Who are these guests? Who are you, sir? Talk to me. Well met, crazy homeless man.
Hmm? What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp. Don't you dare meet my lady like that. You might scare her off for good.
I'm gonna do it. Watch, I'm doing it. I'm talking to her.
You are undead as well? Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
I'm intrigued by the way that one person said might scare her off for good. Sort of indicates that she is very much not into the mission that she has to perform. Which, you know, I suppose makes sense. I mean, they have to go into the catacombs, which is a pretty crappy place to be. But, I don't know. I'm trying to read a bit more into the dialogue because I have too little to say during these videos. Anyway, over here, this is how you get up back to the Undead Asylum. You have to roll off this ledge and get onto this little thing here, climb up through this window. Over here you can see that crow that brought us over in the first place. He's just sort of standing, he's hanging around. During the first section of the game, when you're going through the Undead Burg and stuff, he's not actually there as far as I know. Anyway, you have to climb down here in order to get the other second floor key for the Undead Asylum, or else, you know, there's a particular ring that you will not be able to get. And I gotta jump down here, but you gotta be careful not to land on her, or else everyone will just flip out. So, here we are again. Hi guys, hi crazy man. Alright, so we've got the key. We've gotta go up and do this again real quick. What I find interesting about those guys is that if you watch Epic Namebro's lore videos, they're all members of the Way of White in the Church of Thurland, and they're trying to stamp out the undead. But as far as I can tell, all of them are undead. At the very least, a couple of them go hollow, and Petrus is using Estus flasks, so... And here I go! Oh, that was amazing. High five, everybody. So now I gotta go back up and around and do the whole thing again. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting how the Undead Scourge is being dealt with in this case. I wonder if it occurred to them that I was locked up in the Undead Asylum. I don't know, I guess they don't care really. I guess they have more important things to worry about. Maybe now that they're all undead, they're a little bit more sympathetic. Anyway, in here, you can hear there's a bit of snoring going on as I'm fighting this skeleton who continually dodges my soul arrows. But yeah, there's some snoring happening right here, so there's some sort of giant slumbering beast underneath. Many of you probably already know who it is, but for other people this is a bit of an indicator of what will be happening shortly in the game. So I've killed off that skeleton. Now I don't think I have enough souls to level up again, but maybe I can grab a sorcery or something from Griggs. Stand around. Yeah, I'm spending too much time in the Firelink Shrine here, is what I'm doing. Unfortunately, that stupid miss thing, I'm gonna waste like 3 minutes wandering around just trying to get back to that missed jump.
Did you see them? The 3 young clerics headed for the catacombs to seek kindling. The 3 young clerics headed
Wait,
for the
what?
catacombs to seek kindling. Kindling is the art of feeding bonfires. The poor young girl sent down into a tomb. What a terrible mission she is burdened with.
Yeah, that's sad. Can I have some sorceries, please?
Oh, hello. Well, you certainly are keeping at it. Myself, I'm fine. Let's get started straight away.
Okay, so I don't have enough for another cool soul arrow attack yet. I can't get the great heavy soul arrow, which I'm sure is pretty sweet. But instead I have some other beneficial stuff. I have fall control and oral decoy, which will just help me move around and distract enemies. Or I could get one of the magic weapon or magic shield. Later on I'll be getting a straight magic sword, which can't be enchanted, but a magic shield will probably do me a bit of good, so I'll pick it up.
All right. That'll do it. That should help you on your journey. May we meet again.
Alright, so we've bought what we need, and of course I failed to actually attune it and equip it, so without a magic shield we're going to go ahead and head back to the Undead Asylum. I don't think I'm going to be needing it really, but it'll probably be more useful in later boss fights when I can take a lot of hits. I expect that would be useful during Ornstein and Smo, because I expect to do an awful lot of blocking during that particular fight. Anyway, yep. Back up onto the elevator for the third time. Brilliant. Climb up here, walk over that way. I wonder how exactly this would be easy to find if I had not been told explicitly. Something I sort of regret in my Dark Souls playthrough is not letting myself figure more things out by myself. Like, I would have had a much harder time in Blighttown, I'm sure, but part of it is exploration, and I always love other people exploring, but I didn't give myself a chance to do that personally. So, bleh. Yeah, I am waiting here for quite a long time. It takes a little while before the cutscene starts. But if you wait here for like 10 to 15 seconds, eventually this happens. And here we are again, back at the Northern Undead Asylum. I wonder if there's a Southern Undead Asylum or something else. Got some more enemies here, some very potent enemies, as we'll see a bit later. We'll take out a few of these guys here, but we're not going to enter the asylum just yet, because there's something else that we can do without actually entering the building. Plus, entering the building is a little bit dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So, they didn't drop anything, so let's go over here and visit somebody we saw in the first video, and I haven't spoken about since because I hate her voice.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Yep, we are back talking to Snuggly the Crow, and we're going to find out exactly how she works. Basically, you want to drop things that are warm or maybe soft. There's a selection of things that will work. I think if you drop something that does not work out, she will tell you no, that will not do. So grab a thing. We'll drop this rubbish that we picked up in the Undead Burg. Drop it there. Just leave it in the nest and then walk over someplace else. I usually face away from the wall, quit the game.
Give me warm, give me soft.
And then once you reload the game, our rubbish has turned into a chunk of Titanite. So yeah, this is what Snuggly the Crow does. You give her something warm or soft, she gives you something that is cold and hard and valuable in exchange. If we drop one of those, we get a white Titanite chunk in exchange for a sunlight metal. Somebody died here. How did they die? Standing here, talking to Snuggly the Crow, and of course, he just backflips right into oblivion. Poor stupid guy. Whatever. So, what else can we drop here? We can drop moss clumps. Drop one of these. No, damn it, no. We drop it, we don't use it. Whatever, I never use those red ones anyway. So if we drop a red moss clump, and we leave, come back later, we get some Twinkling Titanite, which is hard to come by early in the game, and it helps you upgrade some very special weapons that are like one of a kind. We drop some purple moss clumps, then I realized I dropped too many, so I pick up all 4 of them and I drop only 1. There we go. And once again I get a Twinkling Titanite. If I dropped my blooming purple moss clump, I would get 2 Twinkling Titanites, but I'm not going to do that before I go through Blighttown because it could come in handy. There's a list of things that you can trade with Snuggly the Crow that you can find online if you look at the Dark Souls wiki. There's not always a regular item. There are a couple of equipable things that you can drop, like a lantern that she will trade for cool things. Anyway, once you enter this room, do not simply run forward. It will not end well, and you will see why shortly. But yeah, you need to go around the edges of the room if you want to explore the asylum right now. Dropped a couple of broken straight swords. Seem useless, but they actually come in handy. You can upgrade a broken straight sword and combine it with a certain boss soul to get something cool demon item, I guess you could say. And right here I'm taking out a cracked red eye orb because I can trade it once again with Snuggly the Crow for something else useful. So if we head backwards towards where we initially started the game, our lonely cell, we will come across this flooded room, which hasn't changed yet. I forgot, here we go. This is the hallway that we're interested in. This is right past where the stray demon is, where we started the game, and there's now an interesting item in our cell, but if we want to get it, we have to get past this charming fellow. This is our 3rd Black Knight of the game, if I'm remembering correctly, and this time we have a great soul arrow, so we should go down more easily than the others, which is good because we don't really have a lot of room for backstabbing. I just got myself stabbed here. I'm gonna goad him into attacking, then take a quick Estus break. Yeah. Corridors can be handy if you're a sorcerer because, you know, it's much harder for an enemy to roll and dodge your attacks, so they are much more effective. The main problem here is that when you're fighting an enemy with a shield like a Black Knight, why am I turning around? If you're fighting an enemy with a shield like a Black Knight, then it can sometimes fire too slowly for the enemy, and they'll come up and raise their shield, and it will do like 1/3 of the damage that it was supposed to. You can increase the speed of your spell casting time if you start upgrading your dexterity, which I haven't really been doing yet, but I've been putting a whole lot of stats into intelligence. I think I can leave that alone for a bit. Anyway, we picked up the Peculiar Doll, and one of the burning questions on the minds of people who play Dark Souls is, oh hi, who's this guy? Not that question, but that's the stray demon again, and he's no longer stomping around, he's just sort of standing in place. That should be a cue. Anyhow. But anyway, yeah, why is the Peculiar Doll in your cell? Who is in your cell trifling around and putting peculiar dolls there? I don't know if anyone really knows the answer. It might just be a weird game quirk, but... Okay, so one fire drill later, I'm back. And anyway, the reason that the Peculiar Doll is kind of confusing is that FromSoft does not randomize the story too much, but like they're very deliberate with where they put things and how things are organized with the story, and you know, even if you don't even though the game doesn't explain the story too carefully, if you analyze it more closely, you can see that a lot of things are tied together very deliberately. Either that, or we're just assigning a story where there is none to be had, but the evidence for a story is very convincing. But we don't really know why the Peculiar Doll is there. Who put it there? The Peculiar Doll, it opens up a level later in the game called the Painted World of Ariamis. And yeah, I don't know why the Painted World has much to do with the Undead Asylum. Anyway, we're walking through this area, and over here we're going to find another Black Knight. I think it's another Sword Black Knight. Once again, we find ourselves in a corridor fighting a Black Knight, and if we were some sword-focused build, this would be a much harder time because it's harder to backstab. But as a sorcerer, we are uniquely suited to corridor combat, which is pretty great. Pretty great perk, because we will find more corridors before we're outdone here. I just got stabbed. I'll be stabbed more times before we're done here, to be sure. Chug and Estus. Ah, dang it. 43, and there we go. Took, I wasn't really counting, I think 6 of those great soul arrows altogether. So he's down, and I think those are the only 2 Black Knights that have appeared in the asylum. I could have sworn there was a third somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it. So my imagination just might be making things up. Anyway, climbing up here, we find ourselves in another familiar area. This is where we originally met Oscar. And at this point, turns out he's still here, but he's gone hollow. And originally I had a lot of trouble with this fight because, first of all, he's really strong, and he has a bajillion health, and our sword does pretty much nothing to him. You can see that 18 damage, and it barely even dented his health bar. So what you need to do is run away. It's better to not get his... Ow. Okay, yeah, the boulder comes back, and I always forget about the boulder coming back, but I think at least it damaged Oscar. So quickly carve up this dude here. He's gonna get in your way. And what you do is lead Oscar into the corridor. And just start firing soul arrows at him, and you'll have a much easier time with him. Because normally it is almost impossible to hit him with a soul arrow because he is fast enough to roll and dodge them. And so if you're trying to fight him in an open area, just stop and run up the stairs and go to this corridor here, because your life will be much easier for it. And of course I nearly die here because I'm terrible. But there we go. Oscar is down, and that's how you kill Oscar easily as a sorcerer. Unless you have a magic sword at this point. If you've gone to Blighttown and you've gotten your green Titanite shards and you already have your magic sword, then that might do a bit more damage. But if you want to take him out earlier and a bit more easily, that's the way to do it. So what did he drop here? He dropped his crest shield and 1,000 or so souls. So 1 Oscar is worth about 10 Oscars. Hollow souls are much more valuable than actual souls. So up here, we're nearing the point where we drop down on the asylum demon. We're gonna fire off a couple soul arrows at these guys. Whenever I say soul arrow, I don't put in the proper space, and I want to say solaire. And I don't know, it is my lazy Michigan elocution, I guess. Like whenever you see a box of Captain Crunch, not Captain Crunch, but Captain Crunch, people in Michigan, we actually say Captain, as far as I know. At least I do. Maybe I just have lazy elocution, but I remember my choir teacher once pointing out to us that it is sort of a Michigan thing. So, I don't know. Listen to somebody from Michigan speak. Listen to Mitt Romney. See if he says Captain. Ask him to pronounce Captain Crunch and see what he does. This should happen at the next debate. Anyhow. Over here, we just unlocked the door that we couldn't before because we got the floor 2 west key, and what it gives us is the rusted iron ring, which gives us a better footing on bad footings. So if you're walking on a narrow area, or if you're walking in like sticky tar or something, the rusted iron ring will be a big help. So we've explored all of the asylum that we want to. There's only one more place to go at this point. So I'm going to sit down, and I could level up, but I'm not paying attention, so I don't. Probably could give myself a boost in vitality or an endurance or something. Anyway, you are definitely going to want to take care of these guys, or else they can make your life a bit more annoying in a moment. So, just slice them up. There we go. That's 2 hollows down. And now you do what I told you not to do, and you run through the middle of this room. And you will see why you shouldn't have done so earlier. Because you fall! And you take a bunch of damage upon your initial landing, about half your health worth of damage. So this is you fighting the stray demon. If he looks familiar, he's basically a much stronger copy of the Asylum Demon, except one thing he does now is he has this strong area of effect attack that sweeps around in a wide range, and as you can see, it gave me some damage a minute or so ago. The only real effective place to dodge this is to be right directly behind him, like where I am now. Right here, he will not take damage from his area of effect attack, and bam, right, see right there to his side, I take a good deal of damage. So the absolute most important thing when fighting the Stray Demon is to stay behind him at all possible moments. So fortunately, when he's just firing his attack, he can fire off a couple of soul arrows there and get in some decent damage. But yeah, he can turn, for his size, he can turn amazingly fast. So do not try chancing it if you can help it. And of course, whenever he lifts himself up, he's going to turn himself around again as well. And just... there we go. Yeah, somewhere in here there is a moment where he just turns on a freaking dime. And right there. It's like you thought that you were facing pretty much away from him, but in an instant he's turned around and he's using his area of effect attack. So don't take chances, just get behind him as soon as possible, stay behind him, and then just fire soul arrows when it's safe, because that guy can take out a huge chunk of your health. He only needs to do that twice, whereas you need to fire approximately 700 soul arrows at him to take him down. That's really the most annoying part about the whole battle, is that this boss is a tank. You can see I've already run out of my great soul arrows, which I thought were so great, and now I'm resorting to the heavy soul arrows. If you have to do this without soul arrows, I've had to do that before, just hacking away at him, and it was a battle that took me between 10 and 15 minutes. He has so much health. Heavy soul arrows do a pretty good job, but 244 damage apiece with my current stats. I think I have 28 intelligence at this point. And I've fired off all 20 great soul arrows. I'm firing some more heavy soul arrows, and you can see that with 244 damage, it's not a huge chunk taken out of his health. We will get a bunch of souls for this, at least, so this will help us level up a few times, which we could really use. He's nearly dead. I think one or two more of these heavy soul arrows will finish him off. Will it be one? Yes. Okay, 20 great soul arrows and 9 heavy soul arrows. That is a hardy enemy right there. Victory is achieved. Take a bow, jump for joy. I always mean to just jump for joy, but I accidentally keep going to the bow, because I keep using the bow a lot when I am doing co-op play. It is generally considered polite whenever you are summoned or whenever you summon somebody else to just look towards them and bow. People seem to do it all the time, and it's cool. It makes you feel like it increases the sense of camaraderie in a game where you cannot speak. Anyhow, he drops 20,000 souls and a Titanite slab. Titanite. It's the same with Cap. Like, I don't say Titanite, I say Titanite. Whatever. Yeah, the Titanite slab, it will let you bring a Titanite weapon, Titanite enhanced weapon, up to plus 15, but they are very rare, they're hard to come by. There's a limited number of them per game. I think this is one of the only guaranteed drops. They added another Titanite slab in the downloadable content. And there we go. I sit down and I fail to level up because I never think of leveling up when I'm in Hero. I just focus on getting out of here and getting back to Lordran. So, because it says, Lordran, you can level up and kindle bonfires, robble robble. Speaking of which, the game implies that right here in the Asylum, you are not in Lordran. It's like the crow picks you up and the narrator says, taken to the land of the ancient lords, Lordran. And so, where are you right here? I suspect that the Asylum is actually located in Thurland, which is where the Way of White comes from, is where Petrus comes from, Ray. Ray is the girl who is on her knees in the Firelink Shrine, by the way. Yeah, they all come from Thurland, and according to the videos of Epic Name Bro, it's the Way of White that is primarily behind the imprisonment and persecution of the undead, so I assume that this asylum was constructed in Thurland.
You, give me warm, give me soft,
one more trip to Snuggly the Crow for now, because I picked up my cracked red eye orb. I'm going to drop that off real quick and see what I get for it. And I pick up purging stones. Those will be handy in a little bit when you get to the depths. A purging stone is what removes curses from your body, and curses are pretty much the worst and scariest thing in the entire world. If you are cursed, basically it's like being in soul form in Demon Souls. Your health is permanently halved until you use a purging stone to remove the curse, or you put on a rare ring of sacrifice and it breaks. So yeah, not only that, but curses can stack up to 3 times. So if you get cursed while you're cursed, you're stuck with 1/4 of your health. And it can go all the way down to being stuck with 1/8 of your health and having to somehow get out of the depth and buy a purging stone. And I was watching people talk about that before the game was released, and somebody said that that's basically a game ender if you're stuck in a difficult area with 1/8 your health. Either you've got to become the most amazing player ever, or you are just completely doomed. You're never getting out, and you just have to start all over. And that would be just the most frustrating thing in the world to me. I've been cursed before in the depths, naturally, because I didn't know where I was going. And I actually had to fight the boss of the depths while cursed because I was completely lost. Anyway, we're back here and we can get ourselves a few... I want to say... Okay, I think it looks like we got ourselves 4 levels. Some endurance, some resistance, some intelligence. I'm rocking 30 intelligence now. I'm probably going to stop upgrading my intelligence and start moving towards dexterity, so that I can start casting these things faster. Once we go through Blighttown, we'll get a really nice handy weapon, so I don't think we need to focus much more on improving our spells. So instead, I just want to start casting them faster and maybe start picking up more useful weaponry. Anyway, this is right about where this first video is going to stop, I think. If you enjoyed the video, please like it or leave a comment below so that it can appear on more people's YouTube feeds. So yeah, I'd appreciate that. And next time we're going to be going to the depths. See you guys then.